Hey, this is Mark with Ridge and River with a quick overview of the 2025 Union binding line. I'm going to start right away. Men's Union Flight Pro, lightest weight binding. This is a freestyle binding, lightest weight binding on the market. Flex pattern of 4, super soft, super forgiving binding if you're starting out, super forgiving binding if you're riding park, jib scene. Next binding in the line, Strata, another freestyle binding. Super responsive, mini disc. Mini disc kind of just lowers your contact on the board, makes your board more flexible, a little more smooth riding, a little more fun to ride. My go-to binding. Union Ultra, a newish binding in their line, kind of takes where the Strata left off, feels like you're riding suspension. Super smooth binding, responsive. This one has a flex of 6, so not a really stiff binding, not overly soft binding like the Flight Pro is. Nice middle ground, do everything binding. Kind of going to our all mountains now. All mountains are this. All mountains is gonna be a little stiffer binding, a little stiffer high back, usually a little higher angle on the heel cup, gives you more leverage, more response when you ride. This is the Union STR, the first all mountain binding in their line. Flex pattern of a 6, so kind of similar to the Ultra, just a little more basic binding. Buckle's always known for their smooth ratcheting mechanism. Next one in the all mountains, Union Force. This is pretty much the workhorse of the Union line. This has been out for years. If you snowboard, every one of us has owned one of these. Funny, it's an all mountain binding with a flex of a 7. In the early days, this used to be our go-to park binding. Just a real versatile binding, super responsive, just everything on it, just upper end quality. Better buckles, better everything you go, stiffer high back, quick release. Then kind of we're going to the Atlas. Atlas is kind of the, I want to say, stiffest binding we have here, stiffness of 8. They redesigned the high back this year, it's a little different. 2-layer toe cap this year is a little different. Everything about this is built to be responsive. Big mountains, you're not wasting any energy. When you go toe to heel, it reacts right away. Super durable binding, smooth riding, powerful binding. Pay attention what board you put it on. You're not gonna put this on your soft twin tip. This is a man's man binding here. From there, we go into a couple of the women's ones we have. We have the Union Juliet. This is kind of their all mountain binding in the women's brand. And their women's binding's a little lower heel, basically high back on it. Women's calf's a little lower. It's a little softer flexing binding. The straps are a little softer. Still, it's their all mountain binding. Stiffness of a 6 on this one. Just downsized to make basically for the woman's boot. It's kind of the women's version of the STR. Then, probably our best-selling women's binding is the Union Legacy. Mini disc, lowers the contact footprint on your board, makes your board more surfy, jibby loose, flexy, more pop. This is the Jib Girl graphics. If you know, you know. But basically, this is a women's Strata. Flex rating of size 5. Great binding to go to. Pretty fun binding. From there, we go to the Cadets, which are basically the little kid bindings. Cadets are basically super soft. What makes this different than everyone else's junior binding? Smooth ratcheting system. The kids aren't gonna be sitting on their butt. I have daughters, what I taught, that was always a big issue of being a parent. Smooth mechanism, they can actually have a fighting chance to get this binding on themselves. Release is easy, super fun colors. Still has a lot of features that adult bindings has, adjustable high back, so you can put them in a little more aggressive stance, you can open it up more. We have a lot more colors than what you saw here. So we have, Forces in 3 colors, Stratas in 3 colors. Come on in, check them out. Bye.